Hey there, magical experimenters. This is Taylor Ellwood with Magical Experiments here today, and today I wanted to share um, a perspective on how to flip the script in any situation that you're in. This is something that I've been applying, over the last couple of months. It's something I wish I'd learned a lot earlier in life, but hey, you learn it when you learn it, and I find that sometimes that's the thing that matters the most is that you come you come to the learning and the realizations when the time is right for you. Sometimes it comes at a cost, and that's something that you have to live with, but that's something you can also learn from. And I think that any situation that we experience in our lives, we have an option of, we can we can fall into the notion that a situation is happening to us, and the result we can feel like we're a victim, or that we have no choice in that situation, or we can recognize that we're happening to a situation, that we're happening, and that the way we show up, who we are, is how we treat ourselves and other people in the situation itself. Um, one of the things that's really helped me is taking on what I'd call a self-love practice, where I've really been, especially in the last month or so, just applying a lot of self-love toward myself. I don't know that I've ever done that before. Um, I've kind of looked for validation. I have looked for validation from other people and other circumstances and situations in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that I've never self-validated myself before this, because I would say I have to some degree, but I don't think I've done it nearly as well as I could have up until recently. And what really helped me was coming to a realization that, I had this realization a couple months ago. I'm like, what I have done up until now has not worked for me. It's not working for me. I have to change something. Well, I can't change what happened. I can't change other people. I mean, I can do some retroactive magic and change some habits and behaviors so that they show up differently now. We can do that, but I can't change what actually happened, and make it different. But what I can change is I can change how I choose to show up in this situation. Now, if you're a frequent flyer to this video thing, please like it and comment. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell notification so that way you get notified when I go live. So I was reading the other day, in Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. Highly recommend, a very magical book. He says, everyone has their reasons in pain, known and unknown. This is also happening to her. Who I'm being to her is what I'm doing to her, and who I'm being to me is what I'm doing to me. It's up to me to stop this. I can't control or be responsible for another's minds and actions, only mine, so I must work on myself. I have the map. Instead of something happening to me, make it this. I happen to it. Choose who I am. Choose to come from a place of power, from a place of loving myself truly and deeply. This is happening to it. See what results. I read that yesterday, and it sums up the last month in particular for me. That I came to a profound realization that I need to happen to this situation that I am in. I need to be. I can choose to either let the situation happen to me, or I can choose to happen to the situation. And and it's really interesting because when you flip the script in that way with a given situation, it changes your outlook on it. It doesn't take away from the fact that you may be feeling pain. It doesn't take away from the fact that you may be in circumstances where you feel like things are unfair, or whatever. But what it does do is it allows you to take a look at it and say, okay, I can't control. I can't control the other people if there are other people in this situation, whatever the situation is. I can't control the external circumstances. I mean, I can do different things. I can try to do things to control. And I might even I may even have some limited success. But in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, really, the only thing I can control is myself and how I choose to respond to a situation. So do I respond to that situation reactively, or do I respond to that situation proactively? Do I make the effort to look at how I'm showing up in this situation and how I'm showing up to myself as well as to other people and change that, or do I stay with where I'm at? This, I think, is the most important thing that we can do in a given situation is ask ourselves, how am I showing up in this situation? In what way am I showing up? In what way is this situation happening to me? And in what way am I happening to the situation? You know, I can choose. And here's the thing is even when you feel like a situation is happening to you, you are also happening to it. You you are always happening to it to some degree or another. So the thing of it is like you're never not happening to a situation. So how you choose to show up in that situation matters. Now, you could argue, well, but Taylor, the situation is happening to me. I don't have control over it. These things are happening to me, and I have to just give myself over to the situation. Well, yes and no. You know, yes, the situation is happening to you. Yes, you're in the situation, but you found yourself in that situation and you brought yourself to that situation to some degree or another. There's always going to be some level of responsibility for why you're in a given situation. But more importantly, I think when you flip the script and you say, here's how I am choosing to show up in this situation, as opposed to having the situation show up in my life. Here's how I'm choosing to show up. Here's how I'm choosing to take control and make the most of this situation. That's where you empower yourself. And let me be clear here. This whole thing about self-love, I've been writing about this a lot on Facebook. It doesn't automatically solve your problems. It doesn't, it's not like it makes it go away and everything's beautiful again. It's not what happens. You you have an experience. You realize, okay, this situation isn't going the way that I want it to be going, maybe, or you find yourself reacting to it. You're like, well, I don't have control over it, and it's true, you don't. And then you make a choice. I choose how I am responding. I choose how to show up. I choose what the situation could be. There are no easy answers for this kind of thing. Because if you choose to stay in the situation, you're like, the situation is happening to me, well, you're choosing to stay in it from a place of reaction. And that is a choice. It is a choice. If, on the other hand, you say, I'm choosing to show up in this situation, then you're choosing to take a role where you're saying, I'm going to take responsibility for how I show up in this situation. Not that this will automatically solve the situation, not that it'll automatically make it better, but I am choosing. I am making that choice. I think that is one of the most magical things that you can do, actually, is when you say, I am making this choice. I am choosing how I show up. I am choosing the way that I take to this situation and apply it to my life. It transforms the way you approach the world and the way you think about things. So I would put that out there to any of you and all of you that to remember that the situation, yes, it may be happening to you. And yes, it may be happening to you in a way that you don't like, but you can flip the script. How do you want to show up to that situation? How do you want to happen to that situation? How can you take control of it? And again, it's not you taking control of everybody else in that situation, because you can't control them. It's choosing how you show up in the situation. You are controlling yourself. You are choosing to show up in a certain way. And then whatever happens from there, you continue from that place. It's a very powerful action, a very powerful step. And so I hope that this gives you something to think about and contemplate. If you start to have a knee-jerk reaction to it, I would ask you that you just take a few moments and really contemplate what I'm saying here. How can I choose? What am I choosing? How am I choosing to show up? Am I letting the situation happen to me, or am I happening to it? And what's the worst that can happen if you choose to flip the script in that way? You'll learn something. Even if it's just, hey, Taylor was wrong, you'll learn something out of it. I applied this the other day to a situation, and it made a difference. It made a difference in that situation. It didn't automatically make it all better, but it made a difference in how I approached it. And I think that, in the end, that is what really matters. So, how we choose to show up matters. And that's really all we can do. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend.